So this week has been filled by Redmi teasing every single day different specs of the Redmi Note 8 Pro. So we know virtually everything we need to know about that phone already, but Redmi have just started releasing more information about the Redmi Note 8 non-Pro version. But now we know that this thing is confirmed to come with a Snapdragon 665. It will also have quad cameras on the back and a fingerprint sensor on the back too, which means an LCD screen. It'll have a notch on the screen too. So this thing is going to go absolutely toe to toe, one for one with the Realme 5. They both have the Snapdragon 665. They both have LCD screens with a notch. They both have the fingerprint sensor on the back and quad cameras back there too. So the Redmi Note 8 will be using a 48 megapixel sensor under that main camera, a Samsung sensor, whereas actually that Realme 5, the main sensor is a 12 megapixel shooter. Other than that, they both have ultra wide cameras, a macro lens and a portrait lens, otherwise known as a depth sensor. A difference between the Note 8 and the Note 8 Pro is that the Note 8 Pro's camera array is centered, whereas on the Note 8, it's on the side. For all you guys outside of China, you may think that the specs on the Redmi Note 8 sound very similar to the specs on the recently released Xiaomi Mi A3. I reviewed that phone, although in China it's called the CC9, but it is exactly the same phone. Both the Mi A3 and the Redmi Note 8 carry a Snapdragon 665, although the Mi A3 has an OLED screen, where the Redmi Note 8 will carry an LCD screen. And the Redmi Note 8 has a quad camera setup, whereas the Mi A3 has a triple camera setup on the back. Also, the Redmi Note 8 should have a larger screen because the Mi A3 has quite a small screen at 6 inches. I also expect the LCD screen on the Redmi Note 8 to be at least Full HD, whereas the Mi A3, even though it had an OLED screen and an under-screen fingerprint sensor, which was really good, the resolution was just not up to scratch and it was a big detractor from that phone. So all in all, if you are looking for a phone right now in like mid-range or budget, there are just so many options. Almost too many options to choose, and I'm about to give you one more. The Reno 2F. So specs have been released on this one. The Reno series is going to have more than one phone coming at different price points. So the Reno 2F, looking more closely at the specs, is going to be a competitor to the Redmi Note 8. So if we compare those two phones, the Redmi Note 8 has an LCD screen, whereas on the Reno, it's going to be OLED, and you'll get an under-screen fingerprint sensor too. They'll both have quad cameras. The biggest difference comes in the chipset used. The Redmi will be using the Snapdragon 665, whereas the Reno uses a MediaTek chip. Do you want to go with the Snapdragon with the LCD screen for the Redmi Note 8, or do you want to go for an OLED screen and the MediaTek chip in the Reno? Redmi will also be releasing a laptop on the 29th of August. So they'll have the Redmi Note 8 series, the Redmi TV, which they'll be launching, and this new notebook called the Redmi Book 14. It will be carrying an Intel i7 processor. Right, now moving on to some big news if you're a OnePlus fan, and I certainly am. The OnePlus 7T non-Pro variant has had some renders mocked up based on some very reliable leaks. So this has come from OnLeaks in association with Price Barber. According to leaks and schematics and details that they've seen, they've mocked up this OnePlus 7T. This is the non-Pro variant, and what we can see is a big design change on the back. So this week we had leaks coming in, we had some schematics, we had some pictures, and now we've got these 3D renders mocked up. These aren't official renders, so again, we have to take with a pinch of salt. And what we can see is confirmation of that new circular design on the back, not to mention an extra camera unit back there. The OnePlus 7 non-Pro variant had a dual camera, basically one camera with a depth sensor. So they've got 3 back there now, assuming an ultra wide has been put on there. But what we still don't know is if you can record video on that, because I've reviewed Oppo phones and the OnePlus 7 Pro, which had an ultra wide camera which you could take pictures on, but couldn't film video on. A very, very big no for me, having a camera there that you can't shoot video on. So I'm hoping they've added the ultra wide and you can shoot video on that. Although the other specs are unclear at the moment, so we don't know if the OnePlus 7 is going to get the new Snapdragon 855 Plus chipset in there, or whether they'll just stick with the 855. Expect way more leaks and information to come in the next couple of weeks before the launch event at the end of September, where OnePlus are going to release all of this stuff. But anyway, that's it for now. I'll see you in the next one.